I do have a few questions, and I think that this is reasonable for us to have questions when a man drowns in the pond on the residence of a former president of the United States, Barack Obama, in Martha's Vineyard. I think it's fair to have questions, and I think that we deserve to have answers to these questions. Here are my questions about this man who was drowned. First of all, the initial reports on this story did not say who this person was. So my first question is, who is this? Who is this person that was drowned? We have since found out that it was Obama's personal chef, a man by the name of Tafari Campbell, who worked for the former president and his family in Obama's house. He was paddleboarding on the pond with someone else. And what's strange about it is if you look at the Instagram account of Tafari Campbell, several years ago, he posted that he didn't know how to swim, that he was unable to swim. So in a sense, you have to wonder, well, why were you paddleboarding then? But oddly enough, later on his Instagram account, he posted that he learned to swim, which is great. If you're an adult who doesn't know how to swim and you learn to swim, kudos to you. Swimming's great. And it's also a safety issue. You should know how to swim. But who was he with? Who was this person? This is the strange part of the story to me, is that there were two people paddleboarding. It was Obama's personal chef and someone else. And the other person who observed Tafari Campbell fall off his paddleboard didn't do anything to save. At least that's, according to the reports, according to the knowledge of what we know right now, it doesn't seem that there was a rescue effort made. This pond, reportedly, is only 8 feet deep. So a person who is able to swim and who is with another person, who was observed by another person, you have to wonder what exactly happened. Was this an incident of drowning, or did he have a heart attack? Did he have a stroke? Did he fall off the paddleboard because of some other medical emergency or issue? What exactly happened here? Was the person who was with Tafari Campbell, was he a guest at the house? Was he a guest of the Obamas? Reportedly, the 911 call came from the Obamas' main residence. So you have to wonder who called the cops, who was aware of this situation as it happened. These are questions I think it's fair to ask. This is not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm not suggesting that there was any foul play here, anything fishy happened. We don't have any indication of that at the moment. I don't think it's particularly fair to assume just because Obama's a radical leftist who associated with critical race theorists and Marxists like Derek Bell, defended him in college. I don't think it's fair to assume that he has anything to do with the Clinton body count, which, according to Anthony Weiner's response, seems kind of like it might be real. Be pretty easy to believe that that's real. But I don't know that this has to do with anything. It might, if they're secretive about it, if there's something shady about it, if they don't answer our questions. But these are the questions that we should ask so that we know exactly what went down. This is sad. A man lost his life. He wasn't an old man. He was a middle-aged man. He died tragically. And if he drowned, it's a horrible way to die. I'm sorry for him. I'm sorry for his family. I am praying for everyone who is involved, but I do want answers to these questions, and I think it's perfectly reasonable that we demand those answers because the answers exist. It's just a matter of whether we're going to be told the information. So Greta Thunberg was arrested recently because she was occupying a location in the name of a climate protest, and the police told her to move, and she refused to comply, so the police arrested her. She seemed delighted by the whole thing. I doubt she'll face any repercussions because, of course, she is the climate alarmist's little princess. But Greta Thunberg had a very interesting response when she was asked about this law-breaking incident at a press conference recently. She told us directly what she wanted to happen to the world based on her climate fear-mongering. Take a listen to this.
Right now, we don't have any laws that holds the carbon in the ground. We don't have any laws that long-term protect us against the self-destructive greed that we have let in full control over the world. The laws have to be changed. We know that we cannot save the world by playing by the rules because the rules have to be changed.
Som jag sa tidigare, vi kommer fortsätta så länge.
It was true that I was at the place at the time described. It is true that I received an order which I did not follow, but according to me, we are in an emergency, and then due to that, my acting was legitimate, even if we have to face.
So what's really interesting here is she says the laws have to be changed and the rules have to be changed, but she's been saying that for a long time. She's been saying, how dare you? You have to do something, all of this. But the interesting part of what she said was this phrase. She said, we need laws to protect us against the self-destructive greed. So what does Greta Thunberg mean when she uses this phrase, self-destructive greed? It's her way of describing capitalism. It's her way of describing the fossil fuel industry. Greta Thunberg doesn't want and this is not just related to the United States of America and our free market economy and the energy that we require to live prosperously and safely and healthily. She's talking about the entire world. This is like Klaus Schwabian level global planning. She doesn't want a free market economy. She doesn't want capitalism. She doesn't want fossil fuels to be used for modern life. Fossil fuels enable us to have the prosperous life that we have. And I'm not talking about luxury. I'm not talking about private jets. I'm talking about clothes. Fossil fuels are made from petrochemicals, or fossil fuels are used, the petrochemicals from fossil fuels are used to make clothes and textiles and medicine and surgical supplies and just about anything that you can think of, fertilizer and weed killer and pesticides so that we can grow crops so that we don't starve. Our modern way of life is built on fossil fuels. It's not just a matter of, oh, don't drive that gas-guzzling SUV. It's not just a matter of, oh, John Kerry sold his private jet after he was criticized for it. That's not what we're talking about when we're talking about fossil fuels. Fossil fuels underpin the entire Western world. And Greta Thunberg wants to change that. She wants to re-engineer everything, and she wants the law to force you to comply with her. So yes, she's a fraud. It also, I know she's about 20 years old now. She's not as young as when she first came onto the scene, but she still strikes me as someone who has been brainwashed. I feel sorry for her actually, because it seems to me that she's been manipulated into how she behaves, manipulated into maybe who she is at this point, at least who she is based on her behavior, because she has spoken before about the fact that when she was very young, she had trouble sleeping. She couldn't even eat because she was so paralyzed with fear that our planet was going to cease to exist and that she would die and everything would be ruined, that she had mental health issues, like a mental breakdown. Like if you don't eat and you can't sleep, then you are in crisis. And it wasn't that she came to that on her own. It's that the adults in her life brainwashed her with that kind of paralyzing fear in order to prompt her to do this kind of stuff. So she's wrong. Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.